Let's talk this brand new 2025 CF Moto 675SS, which is CF Moto's newest motorcycle released to the North American market, and I'm pretty excited to take a look at it today. I've actually never seen you guys more excited to see a motorcycle reviewed than this CF Moto 675SS, and I understand why that is. It's cheap at $7,999. It undercuts the competition by over $1,000, which in this price point is a lot of money. It's over 10% of the cost of the motorcycle, and it delivers well on that price point. The quality of build is fantastic. I look all around this motorcycle. There's a lot of inspiration from Japanese and Italian motorcycles. The design is pretty beautiful, if I may say. At least personally, I think this motorcycle is pretty attractive, and the performance is there, the torque and the horsepower figures, which we're gonna look at all of those later in the video. But a little bit more about CF Moto itself. It was founded about 36 years ago, so even though to us North American residents this motorcycle sounds new, it's been around for a really long time in Middle Eastern, Asian, and some European countries. This brand has been around for a really long time. Even in the US, CF Moto tried to enter the US market a couple of times. They weren't really successful. In 2002 was the first time they entered using their ATVs and four-wheelers, and it didn't sell well. People could call their BS immediately. This is a Chinesium, they're not good, get out of here kind of deal. And they did get out, and they tried it again in 2016, and same deal happened. They didn't really stick around that long. But when they departed the US the second time in 2016, only a year after, in 2017, they struck that famous deal with KTM, where CF Moto became their engine supplier for their higher displacement engines. CF Moto was designing and manufacturing those engines, and in a lot of countries, KTM allowed CF Moto to actually even not only build the engine, but assemble the entire motorcycle. Now, that was received two ways. Some people took it a positive way. They were like, oh, if KTM trusts CF Moto, so will I. And that drove sales through the roof for CF Moto. And some people took that negatively. They were like, CF Moto doesn't have the guts to come forward under their own design and their own branding. So they're hiding kind of behind the shell of a more successful company like KTM. But whatever happened in 2017 through 2019 worked really well for CF Moto, because they gathered so much money that they could start their own perfect lineup of 7-8 motorcycle models, all looking great, all with great quality of build, all with amazing prices. And CF Moto apparently has curbed the tariffs that the US has set on them. They are absorbing the tariffs, and they're sending these motorcycles without a dime added to their price point, which I really appreciate that aspect. They have kept these really cheap and budget friendly. Today we're getting a chance to take a look at their highest displacement sport bike they have created. Following the 300 SS, the 450 SS, now they have the 675 SS, and we are here to do this today. We're gonna go wheel to wheel and everything in between on this brand new 2025 CF Moto 675 SS, and see for about $8,000 US what you're expecting to get from CF Moto. And then we're gonna get on it, go out there, ride this motorcycle, and put its 675 cc's to test. And then I'm gonna compare this motorcycle to some of its competitors and the other motorcycles I have reviewed by quantifying my thoughts and giving this motorcycle the ME score. Let's go. Let's start off by talking about what's powering this CF Moto 675SS, and you have a 675cc inline 3-cylinder liquid-cooled engine down here that makes about 95 horsepower and about 52 foot-pounds of torque. Now, the decision to go with a 3-cylinder engine is obviously the balance between torque and horsepower. The more cylinders you jam-pack in the same engine, the smaller each cylinder has to be, and smaller cylinders have smaller pistons in them. Those smaller pistons can move faster, but their explosions are weaker. So you get higher RPM, higher horsepower, lower torque. Whereas if you decrease the number of cylinders here, each cylinder has to be bigger for the same displacement. And each cylinder that's bigger, the explosions are larger in each cylinder, but the movement is slower. So you get lower RPM, lower horsepower, but higher torque. So using a 3-cylinder gives you more horsepower, but less torque than a twin cylinder, but more torque, less horsepower than an inline 4. So just so you know what kind of torque and horsepower figures to expect out of this engine, and those kind of work out precisely with the way I put 4 other competitor motorcycles on the same list, comparing their torque and horsepower with this motorcycle, you're gonna see that theme. So let's start by the talking about the horsepower first. If you're looking for this motorcycle, the chances are you're also looking at some of its competitors, such as the R7, the CBR650R, which I reviewed with the E-clutch, the GSX-8R, which I also reviewed. These reviews are on my channel, go check them out, and or the Triumph Daytona 660. These are very similar motorcycles to this one in one way or another, and so you're probably considering all these motorcycles. Now, as far as the horsepower goes, number one, highest horsepower producing motorcycle of all these 5 bikes is this one. This one makes 95 horsepower. Tied number second, you have CBR650 and Daytona 660. They both make 1 horsepower less than this motorcycle. For all intents and purposes, consider that the same. Essentially, these 3 bikes make about the same power. Number 3, you have Suzuki GSX-8R, which makes about 82 horsepower, so more than 10 horsepower less than this motorcycle. And number 4 is the Yamaha R7 that makes only 72 horsepower, so more than 20 horsepower less than this motorcycle. As far as torque goes between these competitors, number 1 is your Suzuki GSX-8R that makes about 57.5 horsepower. Number 2 is this motorcycle that makes about 52 horsepower. And number 3 is your Daytona 660. Number 4, Yamaha R7. Number 5, CBR650R. It makes the least amount of torque. So this is the engine on this motorcycle, triple cylinder. And I mean, look at the exhaust, this polished titanium looking exhaust here. 3 exhaust pipes come out here and they join here to the catalytic converter and go down to 1 muffler. But the muffler is covered in this decorative piece of aluminum, brushed aluminum on the outside, with that screen that MotoGPs have for added drama to the exhaust system on this motorcycle. And it's time to hear how the CF MOTO 675 SS sounds. While we are down here, let's talk about the clutch and the transmission on the CF MOTO. Unlike something like the CBR650R from Honda that has that whole E-clutch crazy design to it, making the motorcycle heavier and more expensive, this motorcycle has gone back to the basics. You have a basic 6-speed transmission with only up quick shifter and a cable pull clutch with the slipper assist system added to it, so it's a little easier to pull. And the clutch lever and the brake levers up there both have the adjustment knobs for ease of use, so you can set the lever as close or as far away you want from the handlebar itself. And that's all they have given you here, which I like. Keeps the weight down, keeps the price down. If it ain't broken, don't fix it kind of situation here. Let's move on to the design of this motorcycle. Now, it's easy to call this a Chinese-made motorcycle and dismiss the effort that has gone into designing this motorcycle, or all the extra bits and bobs you're getting for the price you're paying, simply because it's Chinese, therefore it's a copycat of every other motorcycle in its segment. I look at this motorcycle from all the angles, and it doesn't really remind me of a particular motorcycle. Like, I don't look at this and I'm like, yep, that's a ZX6R, or yep, that's a GSX-8R. I don't see that in this motorcycle. That tells me it's not a copy of any other motorcycle because it doesn't instantly remind me of one of those motorcycles it's a copy of. So I don't really get that argument, but that's not me saying I love some of the things that are added to this motorcycle. If you go above and beyond what the motorcycle is designed for, and you add things that are clearly unnecessary for the motorcycle, you start to come across as a poser. Sure, I get that, and this motorcycle does make that mistake in a few places, such as up here with the caliper coolers. I mean, I have a Ninja H2 with 300 horsepower, and that motorcycle, Kawasaki did not feel it's needed to put these on that motorcycle because the brakes are going to overheat and warp or any of that. Now you have a 675cc 95 horsepower motorcycle, and all of a sudden you implement MotoGP level technology on it, we start to have problems. But if you ignore these little things here and there, everything else about this motorcycle is fantastic. Starting with the front, I love the fact that the turn signals are placed on the back of the mirror instead of somewhere down here on the side of the fairings. Putting the turn signals there is a fantastic choice. ZX10R does that, R1 does that. Some of the other bikes on the list of competitors to this motorcycle have that up here. But I definitely prefer this over something on the side if the turn signals are down here. As far as the headlights go, they're not my most favorite headlights, but they don't look bad either. First of all, they're not one of those that one of them is on, one of them is off, because the other one is a high beam, the other one is low beam, so it always seems as though one of the headlights is out. Both are symmetrical, they both turn on. I really love the day running lights on this motorcycle, especially on the startup sequence. When you turn the motorcycle on, these lights kind of sweep back and forth across these light bars, which the Chinese have always been famous for, you know, going above and beyond with lighting and technology. We're going to get to the technology later, but this is where the design and the technology intersect. So I really like these headlights, and they're very bright too. When they are on, you'll see they shine pretty fiercely ahead of you. Coming to the side of this motorcycle, you have these flying buttresses on the side. Again, another one of those things that's a little over the top, but perhaps it, I guess, helps at really high speeds if you choose to push this bike to its limits. They come out kind of looking like those MotoGP wings, but instead of being very awkward looking like the new 2025 Ducati Panigales, where the wing just comes out like a sore thumb, they kind of come out a few inches and then immediately curve down and create this wall of the flying buttress with another winglet down here. And I like the touch of turquoise blue on it. This is called the Nebula Black paint on this motorcycle. With this touch of turquoise blue, it really pops. It's better than the crazy colors like the Kawasaki Racing Team Edition, KRT Edition on the ZX10R or something, where there's red, gold, blue, white, black, silver, like a mess of a color palette on the motorcycle. This one is pretty simple. Some silver, some black, and this touch of turquoise paint, which looks pretty nice. Moving down on the side fairings, you're going to see all these openings are covered in these screens similar to the exhaust of the motorcycle, which makes me think of, again, MotoGP motorcycles. They usually have these, so if a screw comes loose or something falls off the belly of the motorcycle, it doesn't immediately get on the racetrack. It kind of stops from falling out and, you know, getting everybody behind you into an accident. They have put it here. I don't think it serves any real purpose. If anything, it's gonna restrict the airflow to the internals of this motorcycle, preventing it a little from cooling down even more efficiently. But I do like the way it looks. Again, like a real super sport motorcycle. They have these screens there. Moving up, you're gonna see this silver bar going across the motorcycle. This is actually not the frame of the bike. The frame is down here in powder coated in black. This one is just painted like it's the frame of the bike, but it's just another plastic fairing going all across the motorcycle. And when you get back here, they have picked this gray leather for the seat. Obviously it's synthetic, it's not real leather. They have picked this gray color so that it kind of makes this silver paint as though it's the continuation of the silver paint, which looks pretty nice. Moving up here, this is probably the only part of this motorcycle that reminds me of another bike. And that's where the gas tank comes out sharply, but then it's cut off as though somebody has grabbed a knife and they cut it flat, flush, where the CF MOTO is shown. This reminds me of the Husqvarna motorcycles, where the gas tank sharply comes out, but abruptly it's cut flat on the outside of the gas tanks. That's what this reminds me of. And then moving further back, you get to the Pillion seat with two more flying buttresses, similar to the function that these play in downforce creation. I assume these do as well back here. So overall, this motorcycle looks pretty attractive. I don't dislike the way it looks. I don't think it's as sleek as like an MV Agusta or even Ducati, at least the older generations, where they were smooth, no jagged lines or anything. This definitely is a crazy design, but not an unattractive and distasteful one. Looks pretty awesome. Now, comparing this bike to, let's say, the GSX-8R or the CBR650R, although we're comparing the prices, the horsepower, the torque, the weight, one thing you gotta keep in mind is that this motorcycle is in fact oriented for racetrack riding, aggressive riding. It's not a tourer bike like those other motorcycles. And you can tell from a couple of signs, a couple of telltales around this motorcycle. First of all, I show you the MotoGP style brake coolers. Although a little over the top, they're there because they think you're gonna go hard on this motorcycle. Same thing with this steering wheel stabilizer, this dampener that's here with the adjustment knob for the preload. When you see this on a motorcycle, you know the manufacturer intended for you to go to the track with that motorcycle. And the other thing you're gonna get here is an aggressive riding style. When you sit on this 32-inch high seat, combined with these clip-on handlebars, you are going to be leaned over. So if you want this motorcycle for long distance touring, I would skip it and probably go to the Honda CBR650R instead, or GSX-8R. They're both more upright. Here, let me hook the microphone to my jacket and sit on this motorcycle so you can see how the riding style is on this motorcycle. So if you want to see how you look to other people when you're sitting on this bike, well, this is how you look. Pretty leaned over to easily reach the controls. I am pretty much touching the gas tank here, so it's not a touring bike. Keep that in mind if you go shopping around for this CF MOTO 675 SS. Now let's move up here and talk about the technology package on this motorcycle. You have a 5-inch TFT screen up here, and next to it you have 2 USB outlets, one USB-A, the big regular type, and one USB-C. In case you have devices that have either or, you can plug them into the motorcycle and charge your devices while you're going. Also, this motorcycle has a really fantastic ride sync app called, I think, CF MOTO Ride Sync, and it can be found on App Store. And I'm surprised to see it has 1.4 thousand reviews. I mean, how many CF MOTO owners are out there? How many of them have iPhones, and how many of them feel the need to download that app, and how many of them download it and then review the app just to have 1.4 thousand reviews? That's, you know, an insane number of reviews for a motorcycle connectivity app. Suzuki's app, for example, has only 18 reviews, and it has like 1.5 star out of 5. And this motorcycle has 1.4 thousand, and it's almost 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. I don't know if CF MOTO paid someone to do that or what, but they look like legit reviews when I scrolled through them. But anyways, the app is pretty nice. I connected my phone to it, and one interesting thing, obviously, other than the fact you can see how many miles you have left on your current gas tank before you run out of gas, one thing you can do is, if you go to the Home app, obviously you see a schematic of your motorcycle, but there is a button called Seek. Now, what does that button do? If you press that, and if you've lost your motorcycle, the motorcycle flashes its lights and honks the horn. Take a listen. And so hopefully that way you can find your motorcycle amongst all the other hundreds of CF MOTO 675 SS models. You can find it. But anyways, the app is pretty sweet. It shows you on the GPS where your motorcycle currently is at, and apparently works off of internet. So if you are far away from your motorcycle, you can still find it, even if you're not, you know, it's not a Bluetooth connectivity, it's Wi-Fi connectivity. So as long as you have internet and the bike is close to some internet somewhere, you can find your motorcycle. This motorcycle also comes with a TMPS monitor, which is a tire pressure monitoring system. And if I turn on the bike after the 5 or 6 second of animation, once the screen is alive, waiting. Now, you can see after a few seconds, those PSIs for the front and rear tire are going to show up. So the front tire now is 35 PSI and the rear tire is 40 PSI, which is fantastic. I have seen this technology on almost every car, but the problem with those is that you actually have to drive the car for 10, not 10, but like 2-3 miles before the TMPS starts to sense the real pressure. On this motorcycle, I haven't even moved the bike an inch, and it already knows the pressure. So that again tells you the Chinese technology that's ahead of, let's say, Ford or Chevy or all those other American brand cars, which you have to drive around before it finds out the pressure. This one already has it. This motorcycle also comes with ESS which is short for emergency stopping signal. I do that manually in my car or on my motorcycle. When I brake hard, I for a second turn on the hazard light so other people behind me, it attracts their attention, letting them know this braking is not like every other braking. It's aggressive, so watch out. This motorcycle does that automatically. If you're going at a high speed and you all of a sudden slam on your brakes, the signals flash a couple of times, attracting the attention of the individual behind you, telling them, hey, this is an aggressive break-in, watch out. And one other cool thing this motorcycle has, if you have an I believe Insta360 X3 and above, you can actually pair that with Bluetooth to the motorcycle and hook it up to some sort of mount to the back of the motorcycle for shooting your laps around the racetrack. You can actually start and stop the footage of that camera using the up and down arrows on the left handlebar, which is a really excessively thought out option to add to a motorcycle, but this motorcycle has it. You also get traction control and ABS on this motorcycle. Traction control 3 levels to choose from, either off, 1 or 2, so semi-aggressive, full aggressive, or completely off. And ABS is not optional. You always get it on this CF MOTO 675 SS. So the things that matter to a track-oriented rider are provided here. The things that are touring-oriented are not, to keep the cost down. So you don't have cruise control, you don't have grip warmers, you don't have any of those things. So again, a pretty good bundle. Oh, by the way, before I forget, let's go to the back seat and I'm going to show you the situation with the Pillion seat here as well. Moving back here, under the Pillion seat, you're gonna find something interesting. You grab the key, you place it in the keyhole here, you unlock the seat, and when you remove it, you're gonna find this strap. At first I thought maybe you were supposed to hook your helmet to it or something, but this is actually your passenger's little strap so that they can hold on to this in case they have strong aversion towards you and they don't wanna wrap their arms around your waist, feeling all intimate. They can just sit here and hold on to this seatbelt looking material so they don't fall backwards under, fast acceleration of this motorcycle. So anyways, wanted to show you, other than this, the front seat can't be removed like most Kawasaki's, for example. They have a little rope here, a little string, a wire you pull, and then you can remove the back seat. This one is screwed down. You have to unscrew it. It's a pretty laborious process. Other than that, only the passenger seat is removable, and you don't have much room to put anything under it. With all of that out of the way, I think you and I are ready to take this 2025 brand new CF MOTO 675 SS out on the road and give it a try. But before we do that, a huge shout out to Cycle Barn, which is my local CF MOTO dealership up in Marysville, Washington. They have allowed us to take this brand new 0 miles on the odometer motorcycle out on the road, give it a try so you guys can get to know CF MOTO better. They have every CF MOTO model available in North America over here on the showroom floor at great prices. They also don't charge you extra for the tariffs or anything. The manufacturer has eaten that cost up, so no added cost to you guys. Come check them out here. They also carry KTMs, Kawasaki's, Hondas, all kinds of motorcycles. Fantastic facility, and you're gonna find a lot of friendly faces in here. Come check them out. If you're looking for a CF MOTO, they are one of the only CF MOTO dealers I know of in this entire area. Come check their inventory out. I'm gonna leave a link to their dealership and this motorcycle in the description section of this video. And with all of that, you and I are ready to take this bike out. Let's go. Oh, also this has the quick start where you just tap it and let go of it and it starts the motorcycle. You don't have to be holding it like that. There you go, like that. Traction control level 2 is on. Let's move it to level 1, gear 1. Whoa. Okay, this is pretty fast. Wow, this has a very smooth clutch. Sounds awesome. Wow! Holy shit! This bike sounds good. Okay, let's see. Very nimble. Easily you can throw it in corners. Let's put it in a really high gear and floor it, hear the motorcycle roar. Okay, sounds pretty good, sounds pretty good. Let's test the brake. Wow, this J1 brake. This brake was also on the Zero motorcycles, just FYI. And the Zero motorcycles all cost low 20s to high 30s. The spectrum of the bikes that are from there. Fantastic brakes. It's a Spanish brand, J1, and it's on this motorcycle too. Looks great. I mean, looks great, obviously, sure, but works great is what I mean. Oh, is that a cop? Nope. Pretty good, pretty good. This is honestly fantastic. Also, I looked it up in the owner's manual, the braking period. It does not prohibit you from taking this motorcycle hard. It just doesn't want you to stay there. Like, just don't hold the throttle in for seconds and seconds and seconds on and on of using the engine. Otherwise, what we just did is perfectly fine, and it's not you're not prevented from doing this according to the owner's manual. This is a really throw-aroundable bike. Let's see if the turn signals do that thing when you aggressively brake. I didn't see the screen flash with the turn signal, so maybe it does, maybe it doesn't do it. I'm not really sure. Here, we'll do a pull right here a little bit. Quick shifter up is on. Trip 2 mile. Trip to 1.2 miles. Okay, odometer is on 2 miles now. Yep. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So sad I can't put more miles on this bike. This is a fantastic bike. Wow, that guy had the same idea as me. He wanted to make a U-turn. Wow, this is such a fun bike, honestly. Honestly, good work, CFMOTO. This is a hell of a good bike. I think I had more fun on this bike than I did on the CBR650R. I just don't like that E-clutch, honestly. But anyways, this is a great bike. I don't see a difference between this one and any other Japanese bike, honestly. So I don't exactly know what everybody's issue is. It's made in China, so what? I guess actually people don't have issues anymore with this motorcycle. When Chinese motorcycles were bad, we rightfully provided feedback that they are bad. Now that this motorcycle is good, people are starting to like it. And that's capitalism. You give people a good product, people will like it, it lasts longer, you make more money off it, and if it's not a good product, the market automatically eliminates your product. And this motorcycle, I think, is here to stay, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the 1000cc version once it's available. Looking forward to that review. But this bike, man, this is a hard get. Did I say that right? As in, you must definitely buy one of these. If you're in the market for this kind of motorcycle, this is the bike you want. Let's go to the ME score.
And now, onto the ME score for the 2025 CF MOTO 675SS. In the commuter category, you get all LED lights for better visibility, a dual-channel ABS for better stopping, especially in wet conditions, an emergency stop signal, or ESS, for safer, aggressive braking, and TPMS to be able to monitor your tire pressure on the go. You are also provided with a 5-inch TFT screen with fantastic connectivity and programming, and both USB-C and A for charging your devices. As for pricing, this bike is cheap at $7,999, over $1,000 cheaper than every other competitor. Following this, R7 is the next cheapest competitor at $9,200, GSX-8R at $9,440, Daytona 660 at $9,495, and the most expensive is the Honda CBR650R at $9,900. Speaking of reliability in parts and labor availability, CF MOTO dealerships are popping up everywhere. due to the growing demand for this bike, I presume. But I definitely can't speak to the reliability of this bike as it hasn't been around for long yet. The 670SS gets an 18 out of 20. Now on to the performance/dope factor category. The SS is equipped with traction control that can be adjusted both from the handlebar or from the TFT screen, smart lift control for the front tire, fully adjustable KYB suspensions, premium J1 brakes, and a quick shifter, but half a point for this since it is only the up direction quick shifter. It weighs only 429 pounds, which is lighter than the category average. Yamaha R7 is the lightest at 414 pounds, then this CF Moto, followed by the Daytona 660 at 443 pounds, CBR650R at 445, and the heaviest is the GSX 8R at 452 pounds. It's a good amount of power for its weight, thanks to the best of both worlds triple engine, adequate torque and adequate horsepower, with about 86 horsepower at the rear wheel and 52 foot-pounds of torque. As for the design choices and marketplace, this is where we get into some issues with the SS. I'm certain if this bike was a Triumph or a Aprilia, it would have been a lot more expensive and a lot more demanding. The Chinese origin of the manufacturer is definitely a hindrance and slows down the sales, but this can definitely be healed over time, as did many Asian brands when they first came to the US. Toyota, Hyundai, Honda, all experienced hardships when they first entered the US market too. As for the design, I wouldn't call this necessarily an attractive bike, but the fit and finish is pretty awesome and high quality and definitely on par with Japanese manufacturers. Unlike some Japanese brands though, you actually are offered two different colors. Recently, Honda and Kawasaki have started this stupid trend where they only offer one color per year, which is boring because everybody who buys that motorcycle within that year has the exact same motorcycle as you. The SS gets a 13 out of 20 for the overall performance and dope factor category, and it sits here on the list of other sport bikes I have reviewed. China has definitely upped their game here. This bike is now a fantastic money proposition compared to the competition, and performance-wise and even to some degree design-wise, it edges out the rest of its segment. With cheap Chinese labor and the expansive infrastructure that China owns in shipping and cargo transport, all keeping the price of this motorcycle down, it definitely is bad news for other manufacturers. My prediction is, if the long-term reliability of this bike turns out to be good, be prepared to see this bike everywhere. Share your thoughts with the rest of us in the comments section. Thanks for watching.